Good morning, everyone. This is Chris Burns with YCharts. Hope everyone is having a good morning. I'm going to wait a couple minutes or maybe 30 seconds for some other people to come in here. But while they're doing that, I'll just kind of give a brief overview of YCharts as a whole. I know some of you are probably familiar. You may have even taken a demo. But really, we are a full-service financial data terminal. We cover U.S. and Canadian companies. We have 20,000 companies in our database. We also have 2,500 ETFs. For mutual funds, we carry 42,000 of those. And then econ indicators, we have upwards of 400,000 data series. So all the equity, ETF, and mutual fund data we are getting from Morningstar. They are actually a 20% investor in us, and we kind of take their data and we build it out. So we have a lot more options that you can pull into Excel or screen on, whatever you want to do with that. If at any point during this demo you want to ask a question, just go into the chat box and type a question, and then I will try to answer that. Best of my abilities. So YCharts is really good for three core things. That is idea generation via our screener and portfolio strategies and our Excel add-in. We're also really good for deep research through our charting. We have two different types of charts. We have a fundamental chart and a technical chart. Also, our Excel add-in comes in handy for that deep research. You can build out models. That's pretty good. We have a pretty hefty DCF model that our modeling team just created, actually, that I will show you guys at the call. We also have the ability to just pull out data very quickly through our comp tables and time series analysis. And then we're also good for monitoring. We have a good dashboard. That's the page that you see here. That's just kind of good for keeping an eye on things that you want to keep an eye on. And then we have alerts that are going to alert you when any of the metrics that you find are important have been reached. So I'm going to start off in the screener. We have two different types of screeners. We have an equity screener and a fund screener. I'll go to the equity screener first. And instead of build one out for you step by step, I'm just going to open one up that I already have saved. So this is actually a Benjamin Graham filter here. U.S. stocks, revenue over 500 million, etc. You can read those individual screens if you want. But that basically just goes line by line and keeps filtering down. And, the functionality of our screener is very robust. We can put equations in here. As you can see, this total current assets quarterly is greater than or equal to 2 times total current liability. So you can put, equations in there. You can even go to the power of division, subtraction, multiplication, etc. So that brings you down to, the list of stocks once you reach that final filter. From there, you can save this as a watch list. If you just hit save as watch list, that's going to save under a name. That's kind of good, just keeping an eye on those stocks at that point in time that you did that screen. And then, of course, you can save the screening settings too. This scoring models button that you see in the middle, this is a new addition to our product. So depending on when you looked at YCharts, this might be new to you. This is really added because a lot of our clients wanted to do a custom ranking system, according to their criteria. So you can come in and build that one by one, select a metric, and then give it a weighting, and then add all those up, and then come up with a custom ranking system. So I'm going to open one up in here. This one has a bunch of different metrics. So, for example, return on equity. For each one of these, you can select higher, lower, or closer to 0 is better, and then you're going to give it a weight. So you're just going to go through one by one and select those metrics, give it a weight, and then when you're done, you're just going to hit the add score column, and that will give you that custom rank. So I'll scroll over to that, and then if you just click on the header there, that will sort those smallest to largest. So that was a big addition to our product. The speed at which that is done is unlike anything that is out there. One of my colleagues used to work at Thomson, and he said that alone would probably take it 2 minutes to do that multiplication or do that math. So it's really fast, really powerful. A lot of our clients are really digging that. So now I'll just jump into our fund screener really quickly. And just kind of go over, it's the same functionality, but I just want to hit this Modify Fund Universe button and just show you the options that we have in here. If any of you are familiar with Morningstar's product, you'll be familiar with these categories. So you can filter down by any of these. We have, fund style, that's going to have Morningstar 9 boxes. Category name has a lot of different options. So you can really mix and match and hit intersect, exclude, or add at the top and kind of come up with the universe that you want to be looking in. This has scoring models on it also. So now I'm going to go into the charting to, if you want to visualize, some of your deep research here, we have a fundamental chart that's good for that. So I'm just going to build one really quickly here. Let's put J&J up here. I'll put Merck. And then we have price up there by default. I'm just going to add a price to book. And then let's just do a revenue quarterly. And then I'm going to go out to 10 years here. And it's kind of a messy chart. We can clean it up a couple different ways. So I'm going to hit panel per metric here. That's going to split it up into 3 charts if you just kind of want to visualize each one of those in its own little box there. We could also panel that by security too. So the beauty of this is we can save any of these images if you need to put this into a presentation or maybe you have a blog post or a newsletter or something like that. And we can even put your logo here on the lower left. So we can do some co-branding for you. And this is really what we started off as about 7 years ago, and we've just grown the product since then. But this is what we were at our core a long time ago. If at any point you need to just get this raw data, you can do that easily by hitting the Export Data button, and that's going to shoot it out into Excel via a CSV file. We also have this ratio, spreads, and correlations feature on the left side here. So I can hit Create New there, and I can build out I'm just going to do a correlation one real quick. Let me do J&J's price to US GDP. So that creates a little chart down there at the bottom with the rolling correlation, so you can see how that has changed over time. And now I'm going to go into, actually let me go into an individual company's page. So I'm going to go into Johnson & Johnson's quote page here. We have the Y rating in the upper right here. That's a proprietary rating system that we've developed here at YCharts. That's going to be an avoid, neutral, or attractive rating. And you can dig into how we compile that and see the back testing if you want. We're going to have all the basic profile information. News, we have a bunch of different news sources that we aggregate. MT Newswires and PR Newswires are 2 of the main ones there. And then this Key Stats tab right here is really good. We're going to have a full page of key stats if you just want to see the highlights of what's going on with that company. You can export this with one click if you want. And then we have key stats comparison also, so that's going to have that stock compared to 6 of its peers. If you want to do some quick comp analysis, if you want to change these out, let's say you don't want Pfizer in there or something, you can hit Manage Comparables and then just cancel out of that and add whatever you want in there. But we have a bunch of different metrics in here too, kind of bucketed off really nicely. So estimates, we get those from Zacks currently. They go forward 3 years. We're going to have the earnings per share, sales, EBITDA, and EBITDA margin. And for each one of those, we're going to have mean, standard deviation, and number of analysts for that. Now I'm going to shoot into those 2 pages that I mentioned earlier where you can pull out data very quickly and easily. So I'm going to first go to comp tables here. So this is if you want the most recent data points for certain metrics. And I'm just going to pull up a watch list here real quickly. And then instead of typing individual metrics in one by one, which you could do, you could also go to metric set and open one of those. So I'll just do evaluation price-based metric set that we have. So that is all these 6 metrics here. And actually, while I'm here, why don't I just briefly go over the metrics that we do have. So I mentioned that 4,000 number. It's kind of a huge number. So what that's compiled of is each line item on financial statements, we're going to have all these options. So we have all these gross, percents of revenue, things like that. Returns and performance, we have a lot of different options for price returns, and we also have total returns with those dividends reinvested. Metric medians, for example, for EV to EBITDA, we're going to have 3, 5, 7, and 10-year median. Risk metrics, we've built out that pretty heavily here. We have value at risk daily and monthly with different look-back periods and different percentages. We have that for standard deviation as well, Sharp, Sortino, Trainer, etc. And we even have some advanced metrics down here at the bottom. So we have the Altman Z-score, we have cash conversion cycle, Petrosky, the Olson score, etc. So any of that stuff can be pulled out here. So the beauty on this, on the comp tables here, we can export data that into a CSV file. We can also hit this export to Excel add-in button. So that is actually going to shoot out to Excel, but it's all going to be coded with our YCharts coding. So that when I go in here, if I save this today and open this up tomorrow, it's going to have fresh data in there for me. So this is all coded with our Excel add-in coding. It's actually very simple coding. We have guides on our website on how to build these. We also have an Excel modeling team that can help you build out any templates that you need help with. But let me just change one of these tickers real quickly so you can see how quickly that's going to change with that new information. So the beauty of Excel, you can really create whatever you want in here. It can be customized to your practice. We have, our modeling team just created a huge DCF model. So I'm actually going to just pull up a PDF of that. Let me go to the top here. Okay, so this is for Microsoft. The way this would work if it wasn't Excel is you could go into this little ticker box and just change that ticker out, and it would just pull in the information for that ticker. But it's a pretty huge spreadsheet, so that's why I brought it into a PDF, just so it doesn't freeze on this call. So we have balance sheet, we have income statement, we have cash flow, common size statements, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a giant spreadsheet. It took one of our guys here, James, probably a month to create it, when he's working in between other stuff. So this is really huge to a lot of our investment banking clients. They just go in there, they type in a ticker, and all this stuff kind of pops in. You are going to have to put in a couple of different metrics here. The cost of debt. We don't have any debt in our product. We don't have individual bonds. We do have treasuries, but something like that, you'd have to find that number somewhere else and put it in to calculate that WACC. We do have a huge database on our platform for templates that we've already created too, so you can just, if you're on a trial or something, you can download these and play around with them and get a feel for the functionality. So we have about 35 on the site. There's that DCF one that I just showed you. So now I'm also just going to show you the time series analysis page. This was recently updated a few months ago, and it really just allows you to pull out data very quickly from our database, that time series data. So you can come in here and do a watch list again, and then I'm just going to select a metric set. I'll do a different one here, management effectiveness. But that pulls in all those metrics going back to the default, which is 2011. We have this data going back 30 years, so you can go back as far as 86 if you wanted to, but I'll just keep it there. And then for the data formatting, if you wanted to change the frequency of one of these, let's say you don't want daily data if you're pulling in prices or something, you can just do quarterly. So I'll just select that quarterly ending in December. And then once you're ready, you can even do a summary stat. I can throw in an average. I can throw in a median there. So that's going to create one of those for each one of the metrics that we have in there. So then I could just hit export data from there, and that is going to export into a CSV file that you could obviously then play around with in Excel. So that whole thing took me about 20 seconds, and now I have a huge spreadsheet of data that I can then manipulate. So I want to finish off here on our dashboard page. This is that good monitoring page here, just keeping an eye on whatever you want to watch. You create watch lists with the list of stocks or ETFs, mutual funds, or econ data that you want to be keeping your eye on. But then a stock watch list is going to have 5 different tabs. It'll have an overview tab to just kind of tell you what's going on for that day. It'll have the current price, the change from yesterday, the percent change from yesterday, and that Y rating. The data tab is going to have any 6 metrics that you want to put up here, so you could switch these out easily. You could X out and just add something else. Events, you're not going to miss any events if you're checking this tab. It's going to have any earnings, dividends, splits, etc. And then alerts that have triggered will show up here. And then we also have all that news. It's kind of filtered out for the stocks in that watch list.